Ladies and gentlemen, something very important has just happened in the crypto space. Take a look at this. A major lawsuit was just filed. One of the biggest lawsuits in crypto to date, all because this man right here, Barry Silbert, failed to reply. Now, actually, and that's pretty crazy, they did respond, but a little bit too late. And what exactly they responded, I'll be addressing in this video. Plus, of course, I'll be covering exactly what's going on in this billion-dollar crypto lawsuit. But before we move on, guys, make sure you press that like button. The likes have been going insane the last couple of days, and I really appreciate it, which is why I keep making these videos. So let us dive right in. Cameron Winklevoss, who's the co-founder of the infamous crypto exchange Gemini. They basically had an earn product for a long time, and well, they worked with a partner that was called Genesis, and Genesis basically failed to continue with services, quote unquote, went bankrupt, and now the founder of Genesis, or the owner I should call it, has been basically playing these stalling games, draining up more and more of the customers' money. And the guys over at Gemini who facilitated the earn product, whose customers basically lost money, well, they're tired of it and they proposed a solution. They offered a solution, I think 2 days ago or 4 days ago, something like that, where they basically allocated the funds to go to the people in a proper way, to stop wasting time, to stop all this money just getting wasted to lawyers and negotiators. But yeah, they didn't respond. So this was their response in, I guess, attack now. Today, Gemini has filed a lawsuit against Digital Currency Group Co. and Barry Silbert personally in the New York court. Barry was not only the architect and mastermind of the DCG and Genesis fraud against creditors, he was directly and personally involved in perpetrating it. The complaint tells the whole story, but let's start here. When Gemini notified Genesis it would be terminating the earn program in October of 2022, Barry reached out to set up a meeting to induce Gemini to continue the earn product. He did this knowing Genesis was massively insolvent. Barry claimed that Genesis faced only a timing issue, a lie that hit the gaping hole, on Genesis's balance sheet. When Three Arrows Capital, which was a major fund a little while ago that collapsed in June of 2022, it blew a $1.2 billion hole in Genesis' balance sheet. Instead of coming clean and stepping forward, Genesis claimed that everything was business as usual because DCG had stepped in to absorb the losses. So the overcoupling company stepped in to help out. It's now clear that this was a carefully crafted lie. DCG didn't absorb any losses or provided real capital. Behind the scenes, DCG wrote Genesis a sham 10-year promissory note with a measly 1% interest rate, worth just a fraction of its $1.1 billion face amount. Genesis still was wildly insolvent. Barry, DCG, and Genesis all conspired to create false financial reports to hide the truth from Gemini and creditors. One report pretended that this phony 10-year promissory note was a current asset, a total lie and complete misrepresentation of the money. And again, they have the receipts for everything. So if you're like, I want to dive deeper into it, all I can tell you is just go to the corresponding tweet and read a little bit more in the documents because they got receipts for everything that they're stating here, which is also obviously why they filed a lawsuit. And yeah, they know everything because they've been involved. So there's no false claims here. You can read up on it for yourself. A falsified balance sheet pretended that the note was receivable with a value of $1.1 billion, yet another lie. And Genesis's loan duration figures just pretended the promissory note didn't exist because that was the only way to hide it. They literally didn't include it in the calculations, yet another lie. This fraud goes to the very top. Barry Silbert and other DCG executives were directly involved in these lies, and they lied again and again and again and again to conceal the truth from Gemini and other creditors. And it's stated, you can't see perfectly, but DCG and Silbert are and were at all relevant times involved in the operations of Genesis. DCG and Silbert personally were involved in the fraud described below. It really makes me think of FTX. I'm not sure if it also makes you guys think about it. Murph marked, let's quickly see, that is Mark Murphy, the president at DCG and a board member in a couple of other big places. DCG, then COO and current president, was copied when Genesis disseminated its fake financial reports. He knew that the reports lied about DCG's financial support for Genesis. Did he bother to correct them? No, right? So he was involved in the whole chain. Mark Murphy directly lied when he told a creditor that DCG had absorbed the 3AC losses. The whole promissory note scheme shows that Barry Silbert and DCG were in on the fraud. Its design and execution requires full participation and cooperation from Barry, DCG, and Genesis, and only works if it's hidden from creditors. DCG and Barry personally are direct participants in the fraud that has damaged Gemini and hundreds of thousands of earned users. This complaint is an important step in holding them accountable for what they have done. And there's more. You can find the full complaint right there. We look forward to our day in court, which is, that is a very big deal, ladies and gentlemen. But before we move on, and before I'll say more about all this, because things get even spicier, trust me, I want you guys to join the Discord. A link for that is down below. It's the first link you'll see in the description. It's basically a group chat where you, I, and a lot of other cool people can just be together, talk about crypto, talk about where we think the prices are going, discuss investments, discuss trades, discuss everything. Hopefully you guys will also join me in a journey to get a cool little group going where everybody's just happy and learning from one another. Please don't trust people DMing you. Very often they're fakes. I won't DM you and I will not ask for your money, so be careful with that. But I hope that this can be a place where everybody can just learn a little bit more outside of just these crypto news videos. Anyway, like I said, it gets even spicier. Oh, it does. So here's Tyler, who is the second twin, also co-founder of Gemini. DCG, Co, and Barry failed to address or deny a single assertion in our 33-page complaint. Now, what is this about? It's actually DCG's response. Exactly which parts are baseless, defamatory, and completely false? Again, that's in their complaint, which we're going to take a look at in just a second. The indisputable fact is that DCG and Barry were directly involved in misleading creditors as to the financial condition of Genesis. And of course, you don't want us at the recent mediation sessions. They didn't want them. We want a real deal with a real valuation, and we are not fooled by your fraud and fake proposals. But you can keep trying to delay and mislead the UCC and the ad hoc group to worm your way out. And that mostly refers to what we've seen before, where Cameron already stated that it seems the guys over at DCG just want to keep stalling and keep stalling and keep stalling, and that's actually why they put up this proposal, to make sure that not more and more money just goes to waste. But they literally stated as well, not sure exactly where, it's somewhere in one of these 4 pages, that DCG has just kept on stalling for way too long. Again, they've also stated multiple times that if you owe $3.3 billion, which is what we're talking about here, that's why I called it one of the biggest lawsuits in crypto to date, because it's basically about $3 billion in terms of actual problems, right? I'd say the whole issue specifically is more about 650 million, but the complete issue, right? So to take it a little bit broader, $3.3 billion. And the funniest part is, which again is not really funny, but it kind of is, ironically, is that this guy, kind of like Sam Bankman-Fried, is just stating that they're the victims, basically. They say, oh, it's the worst time of my life, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, to continue on, it's interesting here. There's actually a little statement as well that I want to quickly read first. Andrew A.P. Abacus here, the founder of some stuff, I'm not sure exactly what, said, update, DCG responds to Gemini claims and lawsuit filed this morning. At no point in the release do they address a single claim in the lawsuit. Most notably, they don't refute any of them either. Multiple large Genesis creditors are fed up with Barry's tactical bankruptcy process delays. So yeah, they're pointing out some of this stuff, but let us quickly see their response and then go from there. And again, guys, make sure you press that like button if you're enjoying these daily crypto videos. You don't have to, but I appreciate it. All right, so let's dive broader. Here we go. This is yet another publicity stunt from Cameron Winklevoss to deflect blame and responsibility from himself and Gemini, which operated the Gemini Earn program. Any suggestion of wrongdoing by DCG or any of its employees is baseless, defamatory, and completely false. From day one, DCG has remained committed to reaching an amicable solution for all parties to the Genesis bankruptcy. Senior DCG leadership has been working around the clock over the course of multiple months in active negotiation with representatives of the unofficial Unsecured Creditors Committee, an ad hoc committee to reach a deal. What Gemini's leadership was MIA, missing in action, or only issuing press statements. Well, that's controversial because they state they are not really invited. To be clear, neither Cameron nor Tyler Winklevoss have been involved in any of the recent in-person meetings. The mediation process is nearing a close, and we expect to bring the Genesis Chapter 11 case to conclusion soon. And once more, so everybody understands, the guys over at Gemini are stating that they are, first of all, taking way too long to get this done, doing that on purpose because that way they basically, well, have to give back less and less money as time progresses and keep just chewing up more money in their own personal interest. And third of all, Gemini is saying here that they're lying basically because, well, they're not trying to have those guys in on the process. So they're trying to do it outside of them. And that's mostly because they probably don't accept the lies and others do, or others are potentially biased to accept the lies, because they still have something to gain right there. And the guys at Gemini, it seems, just want to get people their money back. And if you think about it, it makes a whole lot of sense, right? The guys over at Gemini don't care about all the stories. They just want the people that use the exchange, use the specific earn product to make sure they get as much money as possible from all this. Because, well, even though it's not their own money, they're not going to make money on this by literal definition. It's their name on the line, and, well, it's a pretty big deal if your customers are being played with, right? I mean, if you're seeing it happening, you're seeing a guy just straight up lie in the documents, lie to your face. Now it's kind of a disrespect issue too, you don't want to be disrespected like that in business. Anyway, I don't think the disrespecting thing takes them so far. It's mostly the idea that these guys had some time to respond right now and get a plan going as to how to pay people back, how to get this all going. And they decided to not respond. The guys over at Gemini did already say they were going to sue, and still, they decided to give a weak-ass response very freaking late, stating, hey, it's not true. That's it. That's all they said. They didn't go into like, oh no, this or that part is not true. They just said, hey, that's defamation. We're working on it. That means absolutely nothing. And I stand very much so with the guys over at Gemini on this one, because I think DCG is absolutely full of baloney. But let me know what you think about the situation down below. And also, guys, make sure you put that notification bell on so you're always up to date with whenever some crazy news drops. And I think this situation is crazy. It's one of the craziest lawsuits in crypto. A very big deal, and it was just filed. Officially just filed. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. And that's about it. See you guys again in another crypto video, most likely somewhere later today. So stick around, and you'll probably enjoy that video too.